everyone, to the Next Best Picture podcast, where we are speaking with Renate Reinsve, the lead actress from Armand. Renate, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I love
Very
this vibe in here.
good. I'm glad. I'm very excited to talk to you today because this film is so fascinating to watch, and your performance in it is as well. And the first thing I
Thank
want
you.
to ask, though, is, I'm thinking about all the films that we've seen you in recently, and they all feel very different in terms of genre and tone. So I'm curious, what's most important to you when picking a project? Is it something in the screenplay or something in the people that are behind it?
Yeah, mostly the
Mm.
people behind it. I think sometimes I meet a director before I know there's a script. Like in Armand, I knew I had a very strong artistic connection with Halfdan. So the character developed in his mind from there. And some of the other projects, I have read the script and I, of course, find something that really sticks with me, or I am moved by something, and usually the whole story. And then I talk to the director. I'm very director driven, so I really want to help uh, the vision of the director as much and support that as much as I can. I think that is where you can really move in different worlds and learn something new and new techniques by really following a director that is really strong. I think in European cinema that is very normal. I think in American cinema you have maybe a different structure, but the things I worked on, the Different Man, that was one of those where the director is very strong. Aaron Schimberg had his way of making that movie.
Absolutely. And when you first got this script from Halfdan, what was your reaction to it? How did it read on the page?
So yeah, we became really good friends after we did the short movie, and we were like, we have to do something again because we had kind of the same taste and the same brain and the same everything. So I knew him, and he had been writing, and when you have a really close friend and they give you a script and it's really great, you're like, did you write this? And I was just really impressed. And he's of course super smart and so funny, and he some way got all of that into the script, and that's really really hard. And he tried to get money. It's very hard to get money for your first feature in Norway, so he had to redo the script many times. And then uh yeah, every time he gave me a new draft, the character was even more intense and the story was even more entangled and complex. But so maybe in the end it was good that it took 7 years to get the money, but it was always good. The script was always good.
So, and he was just kept refining it all throughout that time, it sounds
I think,
like.
yeah, I think actually for him, because you write for to get money, you write for the people who fund the script.
Mhm.
So at some point he started kind of writing for them, and then he kind of got lost in, this is not the movie I want to make. So he changed and he started writing for himself again, and that's when it really got super good, and he eventually got the money. Yeah, so yeah, it was a journey.
That that's really exciting to hear that he
Yeah,
eventually found his way back to what he wanted to make, and that's what we see on screen. That's
yeah, yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
This is as you said, it's a very intense film. There's a lot going on between all the characters that is just, you can feel the tension in the air in these scenes. So I wanted to know what was the vibe like on set, and what, if anything, Halfdan did to sort of dissipate that tension.
Actually, we had a lot of fun making these characters because they're so intense and they have so much going on inside them. So we actually laughed a lot in being in this situation, because it is very satirical. Like the system they're trying to navigate and the conflict that they don't really know what's going on. it's a satire on a dramatic situation, and it becomes kind of a thriller in the end. So it was it was really exhausting to play these characters that had so much intensity, but we had a lot of fun in the midst of it, actually.
That's also really wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
Um, and all the relationships with all these other characters, they're very tricky and very prickly. And so I'm curious,
What's prickly? What's prickly
uh,
mean?
prickly is there's um it's it's spiky. It's a lot you can't
Like,
get too close to these people because
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah. They're
um
very reactive.
yes, yeah, very
Yes.
reactive.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, did you guys have a lot of rehearsal time before getting on set to sort of build these relationships, or did you find that once you got on set?
It's very interesting because we all had very different ways we wanted to work and
Mm,
rehearse. And for this character, because she's so much out of control, for me, it was really good to not have control and not knowing what scene I was going into. So I needed to rehearse as little as possible. But some of the other actors really wanted to rehearse a lot. So it ended up being some people in the room, and then I was outside, and then I came in a little bit, and then I went outside again. It was I think for Halfdan it was a little challenging to make everyone have their different needs met. But he's a really really good director for actors, as you can see, like everyone, all the actors are really really standing out and are really really good. And that's really because Halfdan has so much respect and so much joy in working with actors, so I feel you can really see that.
yeah, that's really wonderful to hear. And
Yeah.
there's a lot going on with your character Elizabeth in this film. She's dealing with so much in her life on top
Yeah.
of the situation in this film. So what was your entry point to her? How did you first find your way into this character?
It was funny because I went in the hallway and went in the door, meeting the teacher for the first time, in the character in the scene, and I just went for something. I didn't really have like a very I don't know any English words for it now, but it was very out of control,
Mm.
and I had no idea what I was doing. But I came out of the room and went to where Halfdan was sitting, and he was like, and I was like, okay. And I was like, but isn't it a little bit too much? Isn't she too intense? He was like, no, let's do this. Let's do this. And then we kind of just went for our gut feeling. And this is kind of what the whole shoot was like. Me coming around the corner, him being like, okay. We got really excited by each other's kind of thing, and I would try something, and that was kind of dark, and he would pick up on it and like make that larger, and we kind of bounced off each other the whole shoot and had a lot of fun.
That does sound like a lot of fun.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, were you actually shooting in this school building that we see in the film, or were those rooms that you were in actually? Oh, you were in the building. What was that
Yeah.
like to be shooting in there the whole time?
Like what you see,
Yeah.
that was the feeling. It's a little scary place. I was never there alone. I don't think anyone was. It's kind of like it seems like an institution at some points, and then a school, and it serves both purposes. It's both very scary and a classical school where you have no children, but you have kind of the sense of what it would be with children. So it's really a great location. I think they saw like 400 schools or something. And then they
Wow.
found this. Yeah, they did a really big search for a school to find the perfect school.
Wow. That's
Maybe I'm
incredible.
saying a higher number now, but I remember it was really, really high.
Wow. that,
Yeah.
well, they found the right one.
Yeah, yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
This centerpiece scene in the film where Elizabeth breaks down in uncontrollable laughter, it
Yes.
it's so effective in part because it just keeps going and going. And as an audience member, you're not quite sure what is going on, as most of the other characters in the film are. Thinking about what you were just talking about, how most of the shoot was you like running back to Halfdan, collaborating on what you had just did. How much direction did you get from him before shooting this scene as to how long he wanted to go on or how intense it should get?
Yeah, it was just two lines in the script, and that it
Mm.
was like laughing for a long time. But we didn't talk about it too much because I just, of course, I needed to know exactly where she was and all the possibilities ahead. But it's really about actually losing control. So the very funny sound guy gave me a half good joke, but I was so nervous, so I started laughing, and then it was really a teamwork of everyone like working together to get this kind of, yeah, the crux, or do you say that in English, like the pivoting of the whole movie, so it
Oh, yeah,
all
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the pivot.
So yeah, the pivot. And yeah, it was just, I feel we were such a small group in this very small place in Norway. We just got really into the whole the school, the characters, everything, and we like very strongly built all of this together. So yeah, but that scene was mostly also just actually losing control a little bit. Yeah.
Was that frightening to do on camera, to lose control in that way?
Yes, yes, it was,
Mm.
it was actually, but in a good way, because like some of the most, like the best performances that I've seen, like Isabelle Huppert, or these two kids in Come and See, like you don't really know where it's coming from, these insane performances that you, and it's like I want to challenge myself into doing something that I don't think is possible, but to get there, like an athlete, you have to like run really fast, and you kind of jeopardize pushing yourself too hard. But I feel I think it's fun to try to see like where I can go, or where the movie can go, and where we can go together. And if someone, I feel the whole room was kind of, okay, let's see where this can go. Like, how crazy can this go? And then we had fun with it, you know?
That's really amazing to hear that you had such fun doing something that is so
Yeah.
intense and scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I know we're coming up on the end of our time together, but before we go, I wanted to ask, I'm fascinated talking to actors about the different parts that they play and how they intersect. And so I wanted to ask, if Julie, your character from The Worst Person in the World, were to photograph Elizabeth, how would she capture her?
That's a great question. She would try to be respectful and kind of keep track of this human that was all over the place, and kind of try to find her in a vulnerable situation where she actually was a little bit calm and didn't feel she had to fight so hard. I think that was what Julie would take a picture of. Yeah, probably. Yeah. They're
And
very
if,
different. Those two people are very
yes,
different. Yeah.
yes, very. And if Julie was photographing the set for Armand, what do you
Mm.
think her picture of you would look like?
Oh, me. I
Hmm.
feel, yeah. Um, I think I'm a little bit more like Julie.
Mm.
So maybe like something that maybe they would me and her would stand next to each other and be like,
I like
like a
that.
selfie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Well, Renata, it's been an absolute delight talking with you, and
yeah, you too.
congratulations on your work in this film.
Thank you
Thank,
so much.
thanks for joining us.
Okay, bye.